Okay, YouTube, what are we messing with today? This is a 500 amp volt, 500 watts about, isolated power supply. Got live wires here that should be isolated. We've got an outlet or a plug here, and this plug is connected up to this GFCI outlet. Notice the little clip in the power side, the little conductor in the power side of the outlet. This is a 100-watt little desktop hand warmer. And the goal is to see whether or not we can hook the isolated transformer up to a GFCI outlet and get it to trip if there's a fault to, well, ground, but it just goes back to common since it's isolated. And how do we do that? Well, this is an isolation transformer, so the wire is hot here, and then we have two leads to the common. And these two leads are one from the common from the outlet and the other lead from ground. So what happens with the normal ground outlet is the power going in, or a normal GFCI outlet, power going in needs to equal power coming out on the neutral, and if those two things don't jive, that means power is going someplace else, most likely ground or through a human or anything else where it shouldn't be going, and the ground fault interrupt trips. Well, I wanted to make sure that I could get the ground fault interrupt to trip on this side, on the safe side, or on the isolated side of the isolation transformer. The black alligator clip is hooked up to a 2K resistor. The 2K resistor is buried under the green shrink wrap. This little thing is what I usually use to discharge capacitors when I'm working on circuits. Anywho, so what we do, we've got the isolated transformer plugged in. We turn on the isolated transformer, and the digital display shows incoming voltage. And I'm going to pick up this ground lead, and I'm going to work my way over to the outlet. Not very exciting because it's not going to spark because of the resistor, but if I touch that, voila! Alright, so that's the test. That right there shows that if I wire it up correctly to the isolation transformer, I can now get a ground fault interrupt outlet to add even more safety. Now what I'll do is I'll obviously make this a pigtail that I can plug in or unplug from the isolation transformer as needed during various experimentations and electronics debugging. Anywho, I hadn't seen anybody hook one of those up before. I did a little cursory search on the web and YouTube, and I couldn't find whether or not you could get a GFCI to work on the isolation side of an isolation transformer. And apparently it does work. Now all I got to do is wire it up in a box correctly and have a little pigtail, and I can utilize that whenever I need to. Alright, YouTube, thanks for watching. Bye.